What's up, guys? Welcome back to Ironverse Uncut. My name is Cade, and today on the show we have Mark Fischer joining us. He's the CEO of Define Fitness, the largest gym brand in New Mexico. But he's not new to the CEO seat either. He's been heavily involved in many companies like Orange Theory, Sports and Health, Cycle Bar, and the private equity world. We're super blessed for him to be able to share his experiences with us today because he's never done a media interview like this before. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, so that we can continue to bring on high-level guests like Mark. I'd recommend getting your notepad out for this one. Let's get into it. All righty, guys, welcome back to the next episode of Ironverse Uncut. Today on the show, we have Mark Fischer, the CEO of Define Fitness. Super excited to have you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Dude, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Humbled and honored that you guys would even invite me.
So
thank you.
Yes, sir. We're humbled to have you. Yeah. So I guess I want to start off kind of talking about like your life, before you were the CEO and had these different positions, just kind of growing up. So I want you to kind of take me all the way back. Like, where did you grow up? What was your relationship with fitness when you were a young kid?
It's a great question. So my journey in fitness started a long time ago. So I grew up in a military family. My father was a fighter pilot and deployed a bunch of times in the Korean conflict and in Vietnam a bunch of times. So we lived all over the world. I grew up in Europe. I grew up in South Africa, spent time in Japan, have lived in 15 different states. We moved all the time. But having said that, with my dad being in the military for 34 years, I grew up in a very disciplined household. So dinner at 6, always tight and right, military showers. So that probably set the course for a lot of my life, is that that consistent discipline, my dad teaching me that every day you need to do hard things. So obviously my path, competitive athletics, got into football, martial arts, started competing really young in martial arts and Muay Thai and judo, and then got heavy into football when I was young and played in college and high school. Wasn't very good, but I played, and got the fitness bug just through the training and being in the gym and all the stuff you would do in the off season for those sports. Got exposed to the gym culture, which at that time was quite different than it is today. It got in my blood. I loved going to the gym and trying to be 1% better every day. I loved helping people, watching people in the gym grow and get better. It just felt good to be surrounded in that environment where everybody was on a journey to improve themselves. And there were a lot of other directions you could go, in your teens and 20s. And I went that direction, felt really solid about it. And when I went to college, that's the short version. Then when I went to college, was okay in football, not great, but I got a degree in finance and was convinced I wanted to be an investment banker. Graduated from college, got a job with a Wall Street firm in investment banking, and really quickly discovered that was not what I wanted to do. Yeah, I was in a cubicle all the time, trying to get deals done. It was a great education, but the passion in my life was really missing, and kept going back to how good it felt to be in that fitness and gym environment. That vibe, that constant and never-ending improvement. And so I sort of had an epiphany, which I was really lucky to have in my early 20s, of I'm just going to chase my passion, which was fitness.
Yeah, that makes sense. And do you remember the first time that you ever stepped in the gym? Obviously, football and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. First time I ever stepped foot in the gym was in a high school gym, which is, just one big piece of like a jungle gym station. Yeah. But a commercial, like all out bodybuilding gym was my senior year of high school. I found this little garage gym. I grew up in Colorado Springs. Found this little garage gym. I think that it was called Iron Gym or something like that. And went in there, and it was just a bunch of hardcore dudes training, lifting heavy, squatting heavy, deadlifting, a bunch of bodybuilders. And I got hooked. I got so hooked. I bet. And so started getting interested in bodybuilding, competed in a couple of shows, and just loved that aspect of it. Loved the discipline associated with getting ready for a contest and the training and the diet, and dialing it in, working on your posing routines. And I wasn't a great bodybuilder. I had the work ethic, but not the genetics. So yeah,
that makes sense. When you kind of mentioned it, but you went to the University of Northern Colorado to get your finance degree, right?
Yeah, and the University of Colorado, both.
Okay, nice. Yeah. And did you, you already touched on it, but you didn't realize you would be in the fitness industry. But when was like the moment that you remember that you're like, I'm done with this. I have to get into my passion.
In the finance industry, it's a grind, right? And so you work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. One day I got up from this cubicle and said, I'm just not having fun, and life is really short. And what do I really love to do? Well, I love skiing, and I love mountain biking, I love rock climbing, I love martial arts. And what's the kind of core that ties that all together is the fitness component of it. And at that time I was still working out in gyms, different gyms. And I was happiest when I was doing that, not just working out, but just being around that environment of positivity, continual motivation. So I just said, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do next. And I'm going to try to figure out how to work in the fitness industry. So other than working out in the gym, I had no idea what was going on. So I got a job at the front desk of the health club. You know, with a college degree in finance, I went in and got at that time, it was probably $6 an hour or whatever, hourly wage, and just really, really loved it. And took a little time. It was a 24-hour fitness, which was a big box gym at that time. Kind of worked my way up in that organization, and then pretty soon I was a gym manager.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so do you remember early in your life, other than it seems like your father, were there early mentors or influencers that kind of shaped the way that you think about business and work ethic and things like that?
I've been super blessed, Kate. I've had so many. My career path has been incredibly organic and probably just a series of good luck and timing. I've been surrounded by some really good mentors. I've had some business mentors, some personal mentors. My father was a mentor, as I mentioned. I've had some people in my life because that old saying that you are a reflection of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
They're my favorite.
That was a huge part of my life growing up. I was very selective about who I spent time with. I don't know that I knew that I was doing that, but I was just drawn to people that had drive and grit and determination. So I had a coach, of course. Everybody has a coach that makes an impression on you.
Yeah.
A football coach that did that for me, a wrestling coach that did that for me for sure, that taught me how to grind. And then there were a couple of business mentors along the way, people I worked around and for, that they saw how hungry I was. I had a quality that was, I always knew that I wasn't the smartest person in the room, but I always believed nobody was going to outwork me. You know, that's famous Kobe Bryant saying that if you and I get on a treadmill together, I'm getting off after you, no matter how long you're on it, right? Yeah. I will just outwork your ass. So that's where my work ethic came from. And it was demonstrated in a lot of people that I surrounded myself with. It's just a blessing that I've had those people in my life.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of people that operate gyms or in the fitness industry, they kind of have a moment where they realize, a lot of them have a passion for the gym, and they realize this isn't just a place where I can work out, but this is a business. Did you have a specific moment like that?
I think my path was a little more organic. I think it was just, I was pretty convinced that I was going to work in the finance industry, and had really invested myself in that in college, and liked the art of the deal and putting things together. And I think it was just not having as much fitness in my life. I probably developed some FOMO, the fear of missing out. And I realized that's when I'm the happiest. So it was probably sitting, like I said, in a cubicle one day.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you told your family, how did they react? Were they supportive, or were they did they think you're wasting your finance degree?
That's a great question. That takes me way back. So my mom was always encouraging. Chase your passion was her message. My dad was like, what the hell are you doing? You're going to work in a gym? He said, are you going to work in one or own one? And I said, I'm going to work in one and learn the business on somebody else's dime, and then I'm going to own a bunch of them. And so that's sort of, I think that appeased him. You know, at the end of the day, I think all my parents really wanted for me was to be happy. Yeah. They wanted me to be successful, obviously, however they measured success. And that might be different than how I measure it. But at the end of the day, I think what your parents really want for you is to be well-adjusted, a good person, and happy.
Yeah. And comfortable. Too. Yeah. Not struggle. Yeah, I know that makes sense. So I want to kind of go back and start with sports and health, right? Mm-hmm. You became the CEO there, and how did you land that role? What was the company kind of like when you took it over?
Okay, so we got to go back further than that to figure out how that map worked.
Yeah.
So I spent that time working a couple of years working for 24 Hour Fitness right out of college, and ultimately became a regional director for them. And at some point really had the entrepreneurial bug. And probably more naivete and I was probably more ego than anything else, is how hard can this be kind of thing. So when I was 25, I left. One of the things I was doing for 24 Hour Fitness is going to different markets in the Midwest and doing site analysis, trying to understand, will a gym work here? What's the competition like? It was not very sophisticated, but I was single, and they would send me into these markets to try to figure out what was going on. And they sent me to Wichita, Kansas. And we had clubs in Nebraska, but nothing in Kansas. So I went down to Wichita, Kansas, and fell in love with that little town. It was definitely underserved from a fitness component. And went back to my boss, a guy named Mark Mastroff, who's a legend in the fitness industry. And I said, I went out of my non-compete. At that point, I was starting to get some shares in the company. I went out and I want to go open some gyms. They let me out of it. And I moved to Wichita, Kansas. Wow. And begged, borrowed, and stealed as much money as I could put together. Opened a little gym. Had a lot of success with it. Took about 2 years to get through it. Put the first couple of payrolls on my credit card. I was definitely way over leveraged, but I was just working. I painted the gym myself. You guys can work through this in your own head because you know how it goes. Painted the gym myself, bought all used equipment, got the thing up and running. And in 2 years, it was doing really well. And I opened my second one. And over 10 years, I opened 6 clubs.
That's awesome.
So when I was, that was when I was 25. When I was 35, I sold the gym chain. Okay. And left the fitness industry.
Wow.
And had gone through some personal stuff in my life and wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I moved to South America and worked as a helicopter ski guide.
Wow.
Based out of Santiago, Chile, but I was working on a place ski area called Valle Navajo. Then I had a buddy that was wanting to start a business in Vietnam, selling ice cream across the country. So I moved to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam and helped him open some ice cream stores. I wasn't planning on staying there. And then out of nowhere, and like I started this whole conversation with, I had a lot of great mentors. A mentor called me and said, what are you doing? You got out of the fitness business. You had a really good 10-year run with a big exit. And I said, I don't really know what I want to do. I miss fitness a lot. I'm still working out a lot. He goes, why don't you come to this company that I just bought called Sport and Health? We've got a couple of clubs in the Washington, D.C. area. A lot has changed since you left the fitness industry. Why don't you come just get your feet wet and see what you think? So I moved to Washington, D.C., started as a general manager. Then I was a district manager. And over the course of my time there, went from being a general manager, district manager, vice president of sales and operations, COO, and CEO. Wow. In about a 10-year period. When I was finished there, we had grown the chain to about 50 plus clubs, all the way from New Jersey down to Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
I was having a blast. I was a workaholic. I was just crushing it every single day. Surrounded myself with a lot of really good people. And we had, after about 12 years there, we had a really big exit to a private equity firm. And so I was unemployed and out of the fitness industry again. Yeah. So the guy that invited me up there, he's a movie producer now, really sharp guy named Jonathan Adler, and has always been a good mentor and a friend to me. Very, very good in finance. And he just said, you've got the talent to do it. Let's just see what you can do with it. And just gave me an opportunity.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We went from, I'll make it up, 350 employees to 7,000 employees.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a massive, short time span.
Massive brand.
Yeah. It was a lot of growth, a lot of fun, a lot of heartache, a lot of headaches, a lot of big mistakes.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. So I guess another question I have surrounding that, correct me if I'm wrong, but in 2014, it was US Fitness Holdings that acquired Sports and Health, right?
Yep.
And then you guys later merged Atlanta Fitness, and there was also One Life, right?
Yeah.
So all those different brands together.
I was the CEO during that whole time.
Yeah. That's crazy. How do you bring brands together without kind of destroying the culture in the different
that's companies? Really hard. That's a great question. So I would tell you it's a little bit art and a little bit science. So what makes a business, a health club business, a gym business, or in fact, for that matter, any business, when you're baking that cake, one of the really important components of that recipe is culture, how those people work together. Because you can, if you're trying to accomplish something, you can only go as fast as the slowest person on the team. And so what we had built with sport and health, I think we were up to 40 locations. What we had built at sport and health was a really solid culture of people. And then as we looked at opportunities, so US Fitness had the guys that bought us, the private equity firm that owned One Life, the guys that bought us, I think only had 6 clubs. So it's like the little guy eating the big guy, right? But they had a lot of capital. And so that was easy because we absorbed our culture into their clubs. And because we kept a consistent leadership team, it was myself and some amazing leaders. I was very fortunate to hire a lot of people that were way smarter than me. And we were able to implement our culture by putting our people in those clubs, and I can tell you, when you're building a business and you're sitting in an office orchestrating that through mergers, acquisitions, however you're putting your deal together, whatever you think the culture is when you're sitting in that office is not what the culture is. The culture is whatever the person running that club creates. So if you've got the right person in the head seat at that club and their culture is aligned with what you think it should be, which is one of inclusion, and one of motivation and drive, one of recognition, acknowledgement, people feeling appreciated that work there. You take care of your employees, then they take care of the members. If you're creating that culture in that club, then it'll permeate all through the club. I had a lot of those people on my team, so I was able to kind of put them in those clubs and get that culture rolling. Then we did the acquisition in Atlanta with Atlanta Fitness, and they had a great culture. We actually looked at what they had and absorbed some of what they had. But it is one of the biggest challenges. It's one of the biggest challenges as any business is how do you go from one of something to multiple of something? And if so much of what you're doing is driven by who you are, you can't multiply yourself. Yeah. Right. You can't be in every club all of the time. So if I can be in a club, I can tell you the culture is going to be strong because of who I am. But I can't do that in 10 locations, especially when they're out of state. Yeah. So you have to surround yourself with people that share your vision and your passion, people that understand how the member comes first, and then you can start to duplicate that. Processes and policies can be easily implemented everywhere, but you know what it's like if you walk in a gym and the vibe is off.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah.
No, I think you did. Yeah. And I guess another question I have is, maybe Atlanta Fitness wasn't this, but have you ever bought underperforming and distressed clubs, and what have you learned from doing that?
For the most part, that's all I've ever bought. Yeah. That's where the deals are, right?
Yeah.
The guys that are killing it, they want a huge multiple on the exit of their business. And then if they're killing it and so much of what they're doing is because of their presence and you pull them out, you're just going to do nothing but get worse.
Yeah.
So I've always been an opportunistic buyer in the fitness industry with Orange Theory, with Cycle Bar, with everywhere I've ever been, an opportunistic buyer where you see either the process, policies, or the play isn't being done correctly, and all you have to do is make some minor adjustments to that, or they have the wrong people in there. And I've always been a big believer that a gym with subpar equipment and amazing people will always outperform a gym with amazing equipment and subpar people. So for me, it's always just been about the people. So I've looked for opportunities. Sometimes clubs are undercapitalized, gyms are undercapitalized, and they just need an infusion of capital, a refresh, and a new brand, and some better people in there. Sometimes the ownership is just tired, and they're looking for an exit. Like I want to retire or whatever.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, he had a Gold's Gym in Frederick, Maryland, and as I was growing this chain up and down the East Coast, I approached him, and he was a good operator, retired firefighter, and had been through the whole thing with 9/11 in New York and was a little burned out. He owns a bunch of Planet Fitnesses now. He was a little burned out, and I said, I think I can put some energy into your gym. So we bought that Gold's Gym, revitalized it, refurnished it, and put some really talented people in there. And the NOI, or the net operating income, tripled like in 3 months.
That's awesome.
Sometimes that's it, man. Yeah. There's no secret to the recipe. I'm a huge believer that in our industry, in the fitness industry, it's just really about the people.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And they're hard to find.
Yeah.
They're hard to grow. They're hard to find. They're hard to
Very
keep.
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
So you went from running like a big box empire of multiple clubs in different states.
I wouldn't call it an empire, but yeah. A lot of clubs.
A lot of clubs, yeah. And then you jumped to Cycle Bar, right? And so what kind of caused you to have that flip?
That was all personal.
Yeah.
So we had the big exit. I didn't need to work anymore. I was in my 40s, early 40s, late 30s, whatever that was. And living on the East Coast in that rat race, living in the Beltway and the district, and it was just hyper competitive. And we owned a place at a ski resort up in the mountains, my wife and daughter and I. And my daughter had really gotten into skiing. I'm very competitive, one of the top skiers in the world, and was vying for a spot on the U.S. ski team. And in order to get her the training we needed, I moved to a ski town in Colorado. I just wasn't going to work anymore. And that didn't last long, for sure. Private equity firm called me, and they said, what are you doing? It's somebody that I'd worked with before on some deals. They said, what are you up to? What are you doing? And I told them, and they said, well, we've got a couple of things we're looking at. We're looking at this time, all pre-COVID, boutique fitness was super coming on the scene. And they said, we're looking at an Orange Theory deal. They've got a couple of units. We think we can buy it and grow it. Would you be interested in investing and getting involved in that? So I got involved in that, not as an active leader, but as a consultant and helping them grow it. And we took it up to, I think we ended up with 55 Orange Theories. Had an exit there, rolled it up to the company, sold it back to Orange Theory. And again, just timing, and got a call from the same private equity firm that said, got this little business called Cycle Bar. They've got 25 open studios. They're based out of Ohio. We're kind of chasing Soul Cycle. We think we can do what they did in the big metro markets, but we think we can do it all across the country. Would you be interested in trying to help us with that? And I said, I love scaling things. I went out to Ohio and met the team. Didn't want to move to Ohio, so I said, I'll do it if I can sort of be a part-time player in it. So I took the job as an interim CEO, and we grew it from, I think we had 25 open units, and in 18 months we had 250 open units, with another 300 in the pipeline, sold but not built yet.
Yeah.
And at that time, like I said, boutique fitness was really coming on the scene between Pilates and cycling and yoga, high intensity interval training like F45 and Orange Theory and all the boutiques. It was a big trend. And there was a company in California, a guy named Anthony Geisler, that owned it, called Exponential Fitness, the biggest kind of curator of boutique fitness. And he was looking to add to his portfolio. So we positioned Cycle Bar as a sale to them, and we got it sold. And so that was my third or fourth exit in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
And again, just purely luck, being in the right place at the right time and just really grinding. And so they bought it. They asked me to come on board and move to Laguna Beach, California. Again, my daughter was embedded in the ski racing community where we live and didn't want to upset all of that. So I said no, and let go of that deal. It subsequently ended up doing great. They got a way better CEO than I was for that company and for where they wanted to go. So, and now they have, I don't know how many of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you were at Orange Theory before Cycle Bar?
Yeah, I didn't have an active role in Orange Theory. I was an investor and a consultant. So helping do site selection and build the Orange Theory locations. And that brand was raging at that time and doing great. And so, I was just another ingredient in the cake. Yeah, I wasn't a big player in it.
Makes sense. What would you say is one of the biggest differences in operating and running something different from a big gym to a boutique gym?
Oh, they're completely different. Yeah. There are that's a really thoughtful question, because there are business principles that are universally applicable to any fitness business, which is the member, the customer experience comes first. You take care of them, they take care of you. And that's probably applicable across most businesses. But after that, let's call it big box gyms, the The pitfall of most big box gyms is they fall into what I would deem the transaction business as opposed to the relationship business. You just churning, if you're doing 2,000 workouts a day in one of your clubs, I think at Define Fitness, we have clubs coming close to 3,000 workouts in a day. And we certainly did at One Life. It's hard to have relationships with people. So you have to build that differently. Boutique, everybody that walks in the door.
Sure.
Cade, what's going on, man? I saw you yesterday in here crushing it. How the kids doing? Are you going on vacation this summer like you did last summer? All of those things that make boutique relationships sticky, not only to the brand and to the employees, but now I've got you in a small group environment where I create a sticky relationship with you and everybody else. Now you're not holding yourself accountable and I'm not holding you accountable. All your friends are holding you accountable. Cade, why weren't you here for class yesterday?
Yeah.
What's going on, dude?
Yeah.
Right? So probably the biggest advantage that boutique has is that CrossFit leveraged it huge in how they built their boxes, right? A lot of people are doing it. I believe in the business that you guys have, wide open for you to build that relationship, right? If you have 20 of them, it gets harder and harder and harder to make that happen. And there's a tipping point in every business on the growth cycle of a business where you decide, who do we want to be? What do we have to give up to get there?
Yeah.
So at Define Fitness, we work so hard. There's so many good people working there that try to keep those relationships alive. And we have to do it more with connecting you to the existing membership base than we can do connecting you to the employees, right? Yeah, that's a hard thing. And I'm not saying we're good at it at all. I'm just saying we talk about it every single day. So we're working on. So to answer your question, how you run both of those businesses, it's still a relationship business. The numbers are way bigger. The metrics you're looking at are way bigger. In boutique fitness, the engagement is much higher, meaning that the average member walks in your front door more often. So you get more chances to give them a bad experience, but you get a lot of chances to give them a good experience. And in the big box environment, you might see some of your members, depending on how much fitness is a part of their life, you might only see them once a week. So people associate use with pay. It's that price value proposition, right? If I'm not using it, why should I really pay for it? So the challenge in big box fitness is, how do you get people to use the gym? How do you keep them encouraged and motivated? You can't go to their house and pick them up. What are you doing every day to get them to see the value of the gym? In boutique, it's just a natural thing that happens. They have such a great time in that small group environment, or they have such a great time at Ironverse, where, like when I went and worked out this morning, I saw a bunch of people that I see all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And what's up? How's it going? And that feels good. It's harder to get that to happen in the big box gym environment.
That makes sense.
So it's a competitive advantage that you guys have.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah, so you've obviously you've been the CEO of big gyms, boutique gyms, COO at Orange Theory. How does your day-to-day role change in those different seats?
The further you up, the bigger the scale, and the further you progress up the scale, the longer the distance from ideas to implementation, right? If I'm a GM and I have an idea about something I want to do inside my four walls, you damn sure bet I can get it done today.
Yeah.
I can get it executed. If it requires a bunch of resources, I might need to get other people involved. But if it's, we're going to change the way we answer the phone, or we're going to change the way we greet our members, or today, everybody that walks in the door gets free energy drink, I can get things done that have an immediate impact on the member experience. If I'm sitting in an office in Ohio and I've got 250 cycle bars all across the country, it's decision by committee. I got to get a bunch of people bought in. I got to be a visionary that gets everybody bought in and understanding why I want to do this. They all listen to that WIFM, what's in it for me? How do I get them to understand what's in it for them, to get them on the same page, reading from the same sheet of music? So it's a distance from idea to implementation. What keeps me grounded and what has been the consistent throughout my very fortunate career is connecting with people. I hate being in the office.
Dude.
I am the happiest when I am on the gym floor and feeling the magic where all the good shit happens, right?
Yeah.
And so if I can get in front of people, if I can walk one of our clubs and catch somebody on the detail team saying, man, you're cleaning that machine, and let me tell you why what you're doing makes a difference. I know your job says clean all the cardio equipment, right? Yeah. But let me tell you why that makes a difference. And let me tell you how the members experience in that. Let me explain to you how you improve the quality of their experience and therefore improve their lives. I've always found a way to do that. And the further up you go in an organization, the less chance you get to do it. But that's always been sort of my consistent theme, is having people understand that they're appreciated and understand what role they play in making the member happy.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah. So looking back to sports and health and US fitness days, what would you say, is there any specific thing you remember, like a mistake that you made or something that if you could go back, you would undo? Or not undo necessarily, but you've learned from?
Zero regrets.
Yeah.
You just can't have them. And I'm a big race car driver where what's in front of you out the front windshield is way more important than what's in the rearview mirror, right? Yeah. What's in front of me is what's important. So I try to learn. There's this old saying, I use it quite a bit, that says good judgment comes from experience, and a ton of your experience comes from bad judgment. That's where you learn, right? Yeah. Is mistakes. And as long as your mistakes aren't fatal, that's where you learn. So yeah, I've bought bad locations. You might be able to relate to this. I've hired people that weren't good for the team. I've spent money on things that I thought were the next big thing in the fitness industry that maybe weren't. Invested in some equipment manufacturers that I thought had good quality equipment, turned out to be junk over time, or they went out of business. So too many mistakes we would take a 2-hour podcast to go through all of the mistakes I've made. But I've always sort of had an underlying principle that if you're not winning, you're learning. So I've never looked at mistakes as mistakes. I've just always looked at it as, I'm going to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was fortunate, really fortunate, when I got into the fitness industry to work for a company like 24 Hour Fitness, where I got to learn on somebody else's dime, where my mistakes weren't as costly as they would have been. Like if I'd just come right out of college and tried to open a gym, I probably would have lost everything, because you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't have a margin of error, so the resources that you and I have are the same resources: time, talent, and dollars.
Good.
We both have those exact same resources. We have them in varying amounts. Mm-hmm. You might be immensely more talented than me. I might by chance just have a bunch more money than you, dollars, right? Right. Yeah. But the one thing you and I both have the same exact amount of every single day is what? Time. Yeah. So the mistakes that I've learned from, I've said, how can I increase my speed to a better solution the next time? So I've tried to leverage my time through the mistakes I've made. I could give you a list of a couple thousand people that would tell you, yeah, I watched Mark fall down a bunch.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. So you were crushing it in the corporate fitness world, and you were running multiple state, operations, and you were doing merger and acquisition. And then you decided to go to Define Fitness in Albuquerque. Yeah. What made you make that decision?
Oh, that's great, because that's been one of the funnest chapters of my life. Is I was done working. Other than some consulting stuff for private equity, I did a couple of private equity deals where we looked at a number of different businesses and then co-invested in them together, all in the fitness space, and was still looking at some deals. And somebody that I'd known in the industry for a really long time, who was a really well-known consultant in the industry, called me and said, hey, these guys in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Well, first he started with, hey, it's in the same time zone you live in, because he knew I was burned out on zooming back and forth between New York and LA and being away from a daughter. And he said, it's in the same time zone. In fact, it's like only an hour flight from where you are. It's a sleepy little company in New Mexico. And he goes, don't be too judgmental when you come down. Just check it out and see what you think. So I came down and I met the CFO. Thought she was amazing. I met a couple of people on the team. They were really amazing. Looked at the clubs. They were not amazing, right? They were very sort of left behind. And so you have to understand, my perspective is building stuff on the East Coast and the West Coast, being plugged in to what you had to do to be competitive. Beautiful, beautiful clubs that we were building. 60,000 square feet, $12, $13 million builds. not including the building or the land, $2 million worth of fitness equipment in each box. And I came here and I was really sort of underwhelmed by what they had, but really over impressed by the opportunity.
Good.
There wasn't a lot of competition in the market. They had a good reputation. And here I didn't recognize it at the time. I dug in a little bit and understood that being local was sort of important in New Mexico. And it is.
Very much so.
I think it's unbelievably important to understand how you can help the communities here and be part of that. Met the shareholders involved at the time. Super impressive guys, way smarter than me. Involved in other businesses, owned a number of different things in the community. And they just, to be honest with you, just said, can you be an interim CEO? We need somebody to run this thing. And the deal we put together was, without sharing too much of it, it was really, I have an idea of what you guys should have here. So what I'll do is I'll come down, we'll use the resources you have, and I'll put together a prototype of what I think Define Fitness should be going forward. I'll come down a couple days a week. I'll work with the team. We'll put that together. And we did that. And so that was the Mesa location that we opened. So it was 40,000 square feet, cutting edge fitness, beautiful building, beautiful facility. We put that thing together, and I was still here a couple of days a week, and we launched it, and it was an unbelievable success from day one.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's never been about making money. It's always just been about making a difference. And I saw the difference of what that one club did to the 4 or 5 little clubs we already had. And it just kind of lit a fire in everybody. They've been waiting for some growth and waiting for opportunity and waiting for vision and waiting for clarity and waiting for investment. And so the team just rose up. It was like, I don't know, it was unbelievable how everybody on the team just stepped up and said, this is amazing. What can I do to help? And so right when we opened it, COVID happened. Still crazy successful in spite of that, however you measure success. And so when COVID happened, partners and I looked around and said, it's going to collapse a lot of the fitness industry. What does that mean? What that means is opportunity. Landlords are going to be hungry. Real estate pricing is going to come down. Interest rates are probably going to get favorable. Let's roll. So we opened 2 more clubs during COVID. When everybody else was shuttered, we built the Santa Fe location and the Rio location. And from day one, as soon as the mask thing came off and all of that happened with COVID, they were like rocket ships. They just crazy performance, crazy member feedback. And we sort of had, by working with some smart people, I'd sort of dialed in what I would say was a good recipe for this market. And based on the success of those locations, we had an old location up in Rio Rancho, little tiny club. And I said, let's close that and let's move it and build a big box. And so we built our biggest club a couple of years ago now. And that was crazy successful based on who we had working there and the team we had put together. And during this process, it goes without saying that I had the bug again. I was all in. I was here 5 days a week, flying back and forth to home. It's like, I don't know. It's like when you have an amazing workout and you get that endorphin rush. I just felt it all over again, even at my old age, dude. I was like, let's go. And so we just started building the company and got another big club coming out in Los Lunas here pretty quick, and another one in Santa Fe, and we're on a tear right now. So what got me back into it is I was missing it. I was bored. I didn't really have much to do. You can only support your kids so much in all of her athletic endeavors. And I was dabbling still in the fitness industry a little bit, but if nothing else, I have a passion for it. I don't know if I'll do it until I'm 90 years old, probably.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
I love growing people, and there's just the opportunity to pour into people and watch them be successful. I can't get enough of that.
Yeah, it's definitely more fulfilling. I'm very young, but I even see that in my life being more fulfilling than having all the money in the world.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know what money is? And I didn't discover this until probably in my 30s, but money is really just a report card. You know,
Yeah.
that's how everybody keeps score, right? So it's not, I've always believed people first, money second. You put people first, you do the right things, you set the right course, you have the right vision, and you execute well. Your report card shows up with pretty good grades.
Yeah.
Right? If the goal is to make a bunch of money, the member feels it. They know you're squeezing them. The employees feel it. They feel underpaid and underappreciated. So the goal is to do the right thing and do it with a lot of passion, and then the money just kind of flows from that.
Yeah.
So I agree 100%. And so, from when you first came into Define, now you've grown it to 8 clubs, correct? In Santa Fe, Farmington, obviously Albuquerque. Is your plan to open as many as possible, or is there like a certain demographic you're looking for specifically to open a new club?
Yeah. What's driving myself and the shareholders currently is we'll open as many as we can, as fast as we can, without sacrificing the experience for the member. Again, back to that money thing. You can chase growth for the sake of growth, just so you can be the biggest ego in the room and say, I have the most gems. I've done that. You can chase, we have the highest EBITDA. We make more money than anybody else. Those metrics to myself and the people I work with are not the metrics that are important. It's the member experience. And I sit here sharing that with you, and it sounds very euphoric. We fail at it all the time. We work so hard to execute well. And if you serve, we have about, I think in this market, we have about 80,000 members. And I think if you surveyed our members, some of them would tell you we're a mess, and some of them would be raving fans. And I think until we can get to the point where the preponderance of them tell us, you're doing a great job and I appreciate what you do and I feel appreciated there, we won't grow. But when we hit those metrics, which we're hitting now, we're getting that feedback right now on our survey platforms, then we'll add another location. And we'll let that settle and we'll digest it, and then we'll add another location. Growth is a funny thing. There's a couple of mouths you're feeding there. Shareholders always want to make more money. We always want to add more value. The member wants more locations to use and more equipment to use. You want to chew up the competition, right? It's my beach, you land on it, you're going to pay, right? I want to beat everybody up in the market. I'm crazy competitive about it, but that's not the metric that's important to me. The metric that's important to me on a daily basis is, did the member have a good experience? Was the club clean? Was the staff friendly? Would you recommend us to your friends? And what kind of results are you getting in your fitness journey? And so if we keep using those metrics as we grow our business and they show favorable, we'll keep looking at markets. We've got a couple of deals out of market in the state of New Mexico right now that we're working on. Going next week to a new market to try to put a deal together.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
So with your clubs, you operate an all-inclusive model, right? All the amenities, everything is included, and that seems the opposite of where the industry is trending. So what made you decide to do that?
Yeah, that's well, it is certainly where the industry was trending originally. And then as there was downward economic pressure in the industry, a lot of gyms, let's call it unbundled, and went to cafeteria-based pricing.
Yeah.
And you end up with a lot of same. Without naming any competitors, a lot of the HVLPs, the high volume, low price competitors, said, if I can be around $10 or $15, I can get everybody in. And then I can try to upsell them to whatever. So I can give you sort of a treadmill for $10, right? But you're not going to have any service and you're not going to really have an experience. And if you're, let's face it, most of our members aren't disciplined, they're motivated. And the motivation comes and goes. You guys probably have a bunch of members that are disciplined, right? It's part of who they are and what they do every day. Most members come and use the club based on their motivation levels. And if you're just renting a treadmill and not having a great experience, you're not getting your needs met, your physical needs, your emotional needs, your connectivity with other people, and you just pay your $10, come in and walk on a treadmill because nobody really helps you and you don't really know what to do, you don't stay very long. And for me, the recipe has always been, I want to charge a higher price point. I don't want to be in that $10 battle. I don't want to fight for that member. I want to be loud and proud about my pricing and raise it all the time, but keep adding value. Some members will make the journey with you and some of them won't. but keep raising that metric of price value proposition. I do know the more I charge, the more I can provide. And it's a recipe for failure to try to give everybody everything and charge them $10. I don't know how you sustain that. Yeah. Other than you fill your club with 10,000 people and hope they don't come. You're right. Yeah. So I have not gone down that road, and I have said, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to not be in that battle. I'd like to be the alternative choice for the consumer at a higher price point. They come in at this price point, and then if they want to buy up for an even better experience, which is what we're doing now. So we've raised our prices 25% in the last year and a half. And that upset some people, but a lot of people made the journey with us. Now we're starting to layer in towel service, and we're layering in recovery, a bunch of recovery modalities that I'm really excited about. We've partnered with one of the best medical providers in the world to provide, because I don't view GLP-1s as an intrusion in the fitness industry. It's not competition. I view it differently. So I view peptides and GLP-1s and hormone replacement therapy and supplements as all inclusive in what we do. We want to be a one-stop shop provider. So we're starting to layer all of those things into our member experience and let members buy up if they want those things, right? But still provide a preeminent fitness experience just for walking in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
very smart.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Could be another mistake. Who knows? Yeah. But I think it's the right path to go. And why I say that is it just feels good for who I am, is to provide an amazing experience for people. And I know I can't do that with good quality people at $10.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, be a one-stop shop. Peptides and GLPs, everyone is using them now.
Well, you think about it, it's really interesting to me. My old roommate, he's the CEO of Lifetime Fitness right now, a multi-billion-dollar company. And we started in the industry at about the same time. He recently, I don't remember, it might have been the Wall Street Journal, where he was talking about the industry is making a big mistake by viewing GLP-1s as competitive, as harmful to the industry. People are going to take them. And what happens if you take a GLP-1 and you're not eating, let's call it a gram of protein per pound of body weight, and you're not doing resistance training? It's basically a muscle wasting drug.
Yeah.
You're going to lose weight, but you're going to lose your ability to perform as a human. You're going to lose your muscle. How hard is it to gain muscle? So if you can get the message to the member, GLP-1s are fine with medical supervision, but you need to be training. You need to be doing resistance training. You need to be eating protein. You need to be building your body, so that at the end of the day, you're going to lose 5% of your muscle and 50% of your fat, as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
And that message, the pharmaceutical companies certainly aren't sending that message. They just want you on GLP-1s. So we're trying to figure out, and we're swimming upstream, as you often do when you're a pioneer in something. We're trying to figure out, how do we present that to our membership base in an intelligent way. And what we came up with is this Define Fitness 365, which is kudos to my director of marketing and my marketing manager. They're really bright. How do you present a total wellness package to the consumer? And you educate them enough, and you educate your staff enough that they can have that conversation when somebody walks in your gym and wants a tour of the club. Part of the tour process is explaining, we can provide this, but you probably, based on what you've shared with me, your goals are, you probably need these other things too.
Yeah.
And we can help guide you on that path.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So your company runs on something called the 4D standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is that something that you created?
Some smarter people than me created it. I would say I was involved in the refining of it, but the marketing manager and some of the operators in the business created that. And in fact, it was our former director of marketing that did a great job with it. We were looking for, what is a differentiator for us? It has to be, I believe, mission statements.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a visionary, explaining your vision to new hires and orientation has to be really simple.
Yeah.
You can't sit down and talk to them for 45 minutes and have them walk out the door understanding. So the 4Ds, we're really about, what can you bring to the table, and how do we know if you're doing a good job? And so we can kind of go through them if you want. It's develop, delight, drive. I'm trying to remember what the fourth one is. Develop, delight, drive, and detail. And so what that's really about is we want you as a representative of the company and a friend of the company when you're working with us to represent those things. We want you to develop yourself constantly. And so we'll pour our resources as a company into helping you get better, put more tools in your toolbox, help you be a better leader, help you be a better person, help you be better rounded. We'll help you with that. We'll underwrite it. We'll give you the educational material. We have Define Fitness University where we help you develop as a person. The drive is just something that we look for in every person that we interview is, what are you doing we're not watching? How driven are you to be the best version of yourself? Not compared to anybody else, but do you wake up every day thinking about, I'm going to be better than yesterday? It's the screensaver on my phone, better than yesterday. It's what are you doing every day for that CANI, that constant and never-ending improvement? If you're a 5 now, how do you become a 5.1 tomorrow? Right? How do you do that? Where's that drive come from? And is it there every single day when you wake up? When your feet touch the floor, do you feel like I'm going to make a difference? I'm going to be of service. I'm going to help people. The detail in the fitness business is so vital that every little detail matters. When a personal trainer is walking through your gym, do they stop and pick up a piece of paper when they see it on the floor? Instead of having the mindset, I'm just here to train my client, that's not my job. Every detail matters. And your members notice, man, when they're taking a Group X class and they lay down on the floor and they look up at the ceiling fan and it's got dust on it. When you walk the club, you might not see that, but your members see it. You have to pay attention to the details. When you launch a member the right way, do you introduce them to the jump start? You get them started on their fitness path the right way? Do you introduce them to a personal trainer? Those details are super important. And so those 4 Ds, without going too much down that rabbit hole, they're easy to communicate. They're on the wall in our business, and we talk about them every single day. And everybody's performance evaluations are tied to how they're doing on those 4 Ds. So, and I think that's important when you're building something that's scalable. That has to be able to translate across the entire platform.
Very true. Yeah, you have to.
And it's a litmus test. If I were to hire you, Cade, and you didn't align with one of the 4 Ds, not going to be a good fit for you. It's not going to be a good fit for us. And it's a way to get our relationship kicked off the right way.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So New Mexico isn't exactly a massive market. And, most national brands would kind of ignore it. And so I guess, do you think that's a strategic advantage for you kind of owning that market? Or does it kind of limit your ceiling of
well, they're starting to discover it now.
Yeah,
for sure. And I think a lot of our business has had a ton of success, and it's gotten some national publicity based on how we've been doing. And a lot of private equity firms have looked at our business, and it becomes known. You try to fly under the radar the best we can. We don't talk at all about our business really, but it gets, if you do the right thing, I think in any kind of business or any kind of industry, you get noticed.
Yeah.
And I don't exactly have a low profile in the industry. So me being here, I think drew a lot of attention, unfortunately. So for me, the way I look at New Mexico is it's not about the size of the market. It's about how deep can you penetrate into the market? How many people can you help? Yeah. Now, we have some exclusion in our pricing at where we're priced. There are some people that would be a real stretch to buy a membership. But I also believe that with the proper education, 3 less, no offense to Starbucks, but 3 less stops at Starbucks, maybe a little less spending on junk food, maybe you go out 1 less night every week, you can certainly afford a membership and improve the quality of your life.
Very true.
And so I look at it like, how can we better serve the communities we're in? How can we reach deeper into the South Valley? How can we be the one-stop shop in Farmington? How can we really help the people at our Capital Club in Santa Fe? How can we get embedded in the school systems, which we're doing very well in the Rio Rancho market, and become that place where the high school kids work out, right? And it becomes that we have people that say, I've been a member here for 20 years. So how do we become that? I think you were very accurate in what you said originally about it being overlooked. I don't think it's being overlooked anymore. Yeah. I think this secret is out about New Mexico.
Yeah.
And now, how do you play in the market with a bunch of national competitors whose office is in San Antonio? How do you play with them? And the way you do that is you become part of the community. You get attached to your members. They can't do that.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. How would you describe the demographic of people in New Mexico? Do you think it's kind of similar to what you dealt with in Washington, or vastly different? Or are you serving the same people?
Well, I always start from the perspective of people are people, and everybody needs fitness.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, everybody needs fitness in their lives. It doesn't make anybody's life worse.
Yeah.
It's just an improvement for your life. It can add years to your life or life to your years, depending on where you are in your life cycle. So having said that, there are certainly some economic challenges in the state of New Mexico as opposed to the Washington, D.C. metro area. That's obvious if you look at average household income,
Yeah.
right? But I'm not asking to $300 a month from somebody. In New York, the solution to fitness is boutique. You pay $120 a month to Soul Cycle. You pay $120 a month to Barry's Boot Camp. You pay $120 a month to be a member of Bar. And you pay $120 a month to be a member of Yoga 6. So you're paying $600 a month for your fitness solution, and that's fine. You know why? It's because you're paying $10,000 a month in rent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the economies of the market are different. Here, those economies aren't at play. And so that makes it more difficult for boutique fitness to be successful here. But we're not going to be $100 a month club. We're always going to try to have a high price value proposition where people see the value in what we offer.
Yeah.
And we look at, and it's interesting, we look at a number of the people in the market that are at that $10 or $15 entry point as feeder clubs for us.
Yeah.
It's where the uninitiated exerciser cuts their teeth on fitness. They start to see, I need a little bit more. I want a better experience. Now I know how to work out a little bit. I'm going to go join Define Fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
I
true.
don't know if I answered your question.
No, yeah, I would say
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the economics here. I don't always agree with the politics of what's going on here, but I believe that we can make a big difference in helping the communities of New Mexico.
That's good.
Yeah. Walk me through your vision when you first got into Define Fitness. What was your 5 to 10 year plan then? And then how has that kind of shifted today?
I sort of violated the Stephen Covey principle of you always begin with the end in mind, right? You know where you want to be when you start. I sort of violated that because I didn't really know where I wanted to be when I came here, and I wasn't sure I was going to stay.
Yeah.
I just came to be an interim CEO until they found the right person.
Yeah.
Probably didn't think it was me. And I spent some time, and as I alluded to earlier, I spent some time trying to figure out what needed to happen, and that was to build a new prototype. So my envision really when I started was let's build the right kind of thing and see what kind of traction we can get. And so we did that. Crazy home run. What's that saying? Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn once in a while. We just stumbled into a great solution and got the team fired up, and that got me fired up. So then my vision started to shift. And I think any leader can recognize that I'm looking at my feet today, and tomorrow I'm looking 5 feet in front of me, right? Now, when we first start out as an entrepreneur, it's about as far as we can look. It's 5 feet in front of us. How are we going to make payroll? How are we going to pay rent? How are we going to, who am I going to employ? And then the vision your eyes start to raise a little bit, and your optics start to open a little bit, and you say, okay, so I've got some great people around me and sort of proved we can do something. Now what can we do? And that's how I would say the vision, as with a lot of my career, sort of developed organically.
Yeah.
Is at one point I'm like, I've recruited some amazing people here. I got to figure out what to do with them.
Yeah.
I need to open some clubs to give these guys some opportunity. So that sort of becomes the driving force. So my vision for it now, as I see it, and it's shared with the current shareholders, is how do we help more people in New Mexico and the surrounding states have a great fitness experience? West Texas is crazily underserved. Parts of Arizona are really underserved. Southern Colorado is really underserved. And so how do you do that without diluting the experience that we try so hard to provide now? I'm a big believer if I can't put somebody in that store, in that gym in a couple of hours, it's probably too far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So if someone handed you $100 million today and said, build Define Fitness 2.0, what are the things that you would kind of fix from the start? And if you got to start over from scratch?
So that sort of has happened.
Yeah.
And we're on that path now. and the clubs will be bigger. They'll have more amenities. I'm looking at some of the trends in the fitness industry with High Rocks and some of the things that are happening in the industry. I need more functional space, more open space, bigger turf areas. I need way bigger outdoor space. New Mexico lends itself to working out outdoors for a lot of the year. We have a lot of people work out when it's 105 degrees outside in our outdoor spaces. They'd be bigger, probably twice the size they are now. They'd have more amenities. I would be more involved, and again, these things are happening. I'd be more involved in wellness. I'd have a bigger menu of things for people to choose from. I'd have more reasons for what that really is. When you offer more amenities and services and things, it's not more reason to join, it's more reason to stay. It's harder to detach from.
Yeah.
I would create more social spaces on our club so that members can interact with each other. And we're doing all of those things now. The things we're building now, Los Lunas is going to be 10,000 feet bigger than the last thing we built. So, and we're looking at another deal right now that is 10,000 feet bigger than that. And some of the trends in the industry, as you know, strength equipment, leverage, cardio spaces are getting smaller. Hard to find people on elliptical machines nowadays. They use treads and stair climbers. The aging population still likes recumbent bikes and low impact activity, but more and more space given to dynamic fitness and strength training.
Yeah.
I agree. So you're an investment advisor and you're also a co-investor at Castana. Is that how you say it?
Castanea Partners.
Castanea Partners.
Private equity firm.
Yeah, private. Yeah.
Boston-based private equity firm.
Yeah. And then how did that kind of walk me through how that relationship start and what kind of an investment advisor actually looks like in the day-to-day for you?
So that has ended. That ended in December of last year. Great relationship. So most of those, the fitness industry is a fairly small industry, a little incestuous. Everybody knows everybody. And when private equity got involved, I'll call it a decade ago, really actively involved in the fitness industry, I started to develop a lot of those relationships, and almost everything I've done has been relationship driven. Yeah. So how that evolved is some of the guys knew me, knew what I had done or what the people I was involved with had done. It's never me. We had a lot of really good results. And they said, we have no experience in the fitness industry and we're interested in getting into it. We think it's the future and we need somebody to come in and be a board and investment advisor. So what you essentially do is you come in, you have the opportunity to look at the deals they're looking at, their pipeline, their deal flow. Yeah. And they were looking at about probably 10 or 15 different deals, from rock climbing gyms in the Northeast to a chain of high intensity interval workout businesses, to a franchise group, to something that J-Lo and Alex Rodriguez owned called True Fusion. We looked at a lot of different deals and met with all of those people in multiple meetings talking about their business and what the upside was, and ultimately settled that we thought Orange Theory had a pretty good, and they did, nothing that we brought to the table. They had a pretty good recipe for success and we're getting great results. So they said, we want to acquire this small group in LA owned by a guy named Brendan, former NFL player, an all-star, an all-pro from the Baltimore Ravens, and his partner. And so we went into business with them. Brendan's still a great friend, and just poured gas on it, basically. They knew what they were doing. We just brought a bunch of resources together, and they asked me if I wanted to co-invest, and I did. I put in my money in the deal, and we grew it from, I think they had 8 Orange Theories to, I think we ended up with 52. And I got out of that last December.
Wow. Nice. Yeah.
I had nothing to do with the success of it. So as an investment advisor, when we would have board meetings, my opinion would be asked. What do you think of this site? What do you think of this employee? What do you think of this deal structure? What do you think of of building the team this way? What do you think of this compensation plan and motivating people? How do you think this should be structured? Do you think we should give some of our key players some equity in the deal? So I probably was in that room, quite honestly, the dumbest person in the room. Once you get private equity involved, it's a bunch of Harvard MBAs, right? And really, really smart people that I've been around in my career. So my dad always said, nobody knows how ignorant you are until you open your mouth. So I would listen a lot and contribute where I thought I had some value to add, but for the most part, decided it was something I wanted to be involved in, got involved, and just wrote it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
So let's say like a founder of, a gym or a wellness brand walks into you and they say that they want to sell or they want to raise capital.
Mm-hmm.
What are the three main things that you're underwriting and what's something that kind of kills the deal right from this?
Why do they want to sell? No, that's my first question.
Oh, okay.
Why? Did you lose your passion? Well, why do you want out? Do you want to stay in? What's your commitment to this? What was your vision to begin with, and where you are on that chain? Have you gotten it there? Is it scalable? Can you do something more with it? Who's on your team? So, and I'm just giving you a bunch of answers, but when I look at deals, if somebody wants out, I want to understand why. It's just like if you're buying a car. Why do you want to sell a car, right? What's your vision? And I look at first the who, then the why, and then the what. And why would I want to be involved? Do I have the same passion they have? How can I invest? Why would I want to put some skin in the game? Why do I want my money in that deal? And I'm always interested in deals where you already have proof of concept, meaning that they've demonstrated this works. It works with the members are happy, the customer's happy, the team is happy, and there's good ROI on their investment. So that net positive income is down there at the bottom line. So you have proof of concept. Is it scalable? Have you done another one where you don't have to be in it all the time? You got the play, the process, and the people all dialed in, so you don't have to sit on top of it. Do we have proof of concept on that second location? And is it out of market? Or do you have to go there every single day and check on it? And then is it scalable? What infrastructure do you have? What's your billing platform? What's your training platform? How can you train people? If they've sort of been thoughtful about some of those things and they say, I want to sell, but I only want to sell a piece of it, I want to stay in, that tells me something. They believe.
Yeah.
And so you're going to stay in, you're going to roll with me, you're not going to take all your money off the table, we're going to do this together. That deal is very interesting to me. And as long as I believe in whatever the business is, the concept is right. And I've had some experiences that went the other way that weren't great investments. Knock on wood, never been horrific, but for the most part, you go back to the principle I started with. It's about people.
Yeah, very true.
I think that a lot of people see and private equity loves fitness because it's recurring revenue, right? And so I think a lot of people have heard the horror stories of, they buy a gym and that the culture crashes, the members aren't happy, and it just becomes a disaster. So how do you think that in private equity that you can maintain a standard of a gym and do that right?
That's a really thoughtful question. Just the fact that you mentioned recurring revenue. I think to your point, and it was very well said, what got people interested on the PE side in the gym business initially was the sustainable revenue, the recurring revenue model, right? And you see it in a lot of subscription-based businesses as, one sale, forever revenue, as long as you fulfill. Comcast does it, right? It's hard. Easy to get in and hard to get out once you're in. But they, for the most part, my experience with them is that they forget about the customer service side of it once you're paying that monthly fee. So the crux of your question is, how do you sustain it? And that's all operations. It's in the grind. It's in the day-to-day grind. You have passion. You think about the gym business, it's interesting. And I've been involved in some restaurant businesses. Hospitality has some close similarities. There's some overlap, and there's some quite different things, but there's a lot of great books written about hospitality that are applicable to the gym business. Some core principles. that daily grind, if Ironverse is open, I'll make it up. Well, you guys are open all the time. You have access all the time. But let's say you're staffed from 8 to 8, 12 hours a day. And I come in at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, and Kate is there. And the experience is stellar. I had a great experience. And I come in on Tuesday, somebody else is there. And they're behind the front desk and they're reading a book. They don't even say hello to me. It's a different experience. Gym isn't clean. They haven't put out the bars. They haven't put the pro shop stuff up yet. Haven't checked the bathrooms, make sure we're tight and right. And I have a different experience. Your business then becomes judged on my last experience. Because I am a subscription-based payer, probably coming again. You're going to get another shot at me. But let's say I use your place 5-7 times a week, right? If I come that often, you have a lot of opportunities to get it right, but you have a lot of opportunities to get it wrong. The miss in our industry, and private equity didn't understand this originally, is, yeah, you'll keep my money for a while, especially if I'm in a membership contract, but if I'm month to month, I'm going to vote with my dollars. I didn't have a good experience. You were only as good as my last experience. And so I associate use with pay. You guys give me a couple reasons not to come. Gym isn't clean. Members are loud and screaming. Don't put their weights back. Doesn't open on time, whatever it is. I have a couple of reasons not to come. Working out is work. You give me a couple of reasons to sleep a little later. You give me a couple of reasons to drive past your gym and go somewhere else. I'm probably going to do it. Somebody opens down the street that's $10 less a month, and you've given me a couple of those reasons. So the win in our industry is in the grind. And how do you make it happen every single day? Right. So, yeah, that's what they didn't get. And for me, that's all we talk about in our business. We use a platform called Medallia that we survey our members on the regular about how clean is the club, how friendly is the staff, the net promoter score, which is your likelihood to recommend me to somebody. You think about, would you recommend a restaurant to somebody? You want to make sure they're going to have a good experience before you give them a recommendation. It's the same in the gym business. If you're likely to say to somebody, you should join this gym, it's a good place, then we're doing a good job. And that only comes based on your last couple of experiences. If you're enmeshed with us, Kate, and you use our club every single day and you know all the members here, you'll let us get away with a little bit. Gym might not be tight and right today, but you saw your friends, your buddies, you had a great workout, you're high-fiving, you got your pump on. You're probably going to come back tomorrow and let us slide a little bit. But for the most part, you're going to vote with your feet. Yeah. And that grind they didn't understand. They get it now.
Yeah. You've operated and invested in fitness. And so when you're, as an investor, when you're looking at operators, what do you feel like most of them lie about when they're kind of trying to pitch you their business?
That's a tough one for me to answer. I'm pretty lucky. I haven't had many people lie to me. Have I discovered once in a deal that their version of reality is different than my version of reality, that their perception of what was happening is different than my perception? That's happened a couple of times. And I think as a small operator, you can get too close to your business where you believe your own story and you're not really attached to what the customer thinks. And sometimes you oversell where you think this thing can go. And God, I've been there as a small operator, putting payroll on my credit cards. I'm trying to figure out how to get there. You believe so much and your enthusiasm is so contagious, and rent next month, you might not make it, but you could convince anybody that you're going to make it because you have that conviction, right? There's 3 levels of that. You have an opinion about something, which I can probably change. I can probably change your opinion about something. You have a belief about something. With a lot of education and some time with you, I might change your beliefs. But if you're convicted, that 3rd level about something, probably not going to change it. Could be your morals, your ethics, whatever. I'm not going to change it. A lot of small gym owners have a conviction that they're not willing to see the lumps on their deal. They're so convicted. They're so myopically focused, they can't see the warts, right? And sometimes when you come in as an investor, You see a lot of those.
Yeah.
So if I sit down with somebody and they're asking me to invest in their business and I talk to them about the warts and they're in denial of it, that's a no-go for me.
Yeah.
If they're like, hey, that's good, thank you. Having another set of eyes on my business is helpful. I didn't see that. Yeah. Then I've got somebody I can talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
I'm lucky though. I haven't really been lied to.
That's good.
Yeah. In the fitness industry, I think retention is kind of the ultimate metric. And so for you at Define and just in general in your career, what is that kind of retention number that you try to always drive?
It's an elusive beast.
Yeah.
You can't chase retention until you know why people leave. And getting a real answer out of somebody as to why they left your business is difficult. A lot of people, you as an employer probably don't really enjoy difficult conversations with your employees. You think your customers want to have difficult conversations with you? So pulling the truth out of people about why their usage decreased and their decreased usage led to their change in the price value proposition, and their price value proposition got to the point of, I'm not using it, I'm not going to pay for it, and they left. Well, where did that journey start? Right? The way we look at it is we look at the average usage. So if you're a 2-time-a-week user, you're just as valuable, I am to you and you are to me, as the 5-time-a-week user. But if the 2-time-a-week user becomes a 1-time-a-week user, there's something going on. If the 5-time-a-week user becomes a 2-time-a-week user, there's something going on. The 5-time user become a 2-time user, uses it just as much as that middle group, but something has changed in their life. It could be us, we did something wrong. It could be money. It could be they're going through some personal stuff in their lives. Could be they lost their job. Could be, things happen in your world. So chasing that retention number it's an elusive beast that you're chasing all of the time. But it all begins with understanding why people come and why people don't come. It is quite different across the industry. The average use or the average length so let's define retention. Retention is the average length that somebody stays with you. It's not how many people are leaving every month and how many people are joining every month for your net membership gain. It's really about, if I capture you as a member, how long can I keep you? If I have 80,000 members and they're paying me $50 a month, what's the impact to the business if I can get everybody to stay 1 month longer?
Yep.
80,000 times 50.
Yeah.
Just 1 month. Yeah. If your average journey is 13 months and I get you to stay 14 months, it's life-changing for the business, right? So when I talk about retention across the industry, I try, and we're getting really deep into the business here, but I try to look at it as understanding why a member leaves, understanding what your current trends are, and how do I impact that by getting people to stay just a little bit longer?
Yeah.
What do I have to do to postpone the exit? So in the boutique industry, just to get back to the core of your question, retention, the average length of stay is about 2 times the length of what it would be for your business.
Yeah.
And what makes them stay is social connectivity. It's the old saying, anybody can quit a membership. Have you ever tried getting out of a relationship? It's hard. Breaking up with a relationship, ending a relationship requires difficult conversations, explanations to people. So in boutique, what they did really well is they created relationships in the business. And you don't want to tell all your friends you're leaving. And if you leave, how are you going to get them all to come with you wherever you went now? Yeah. Big box gyms and gyms that don't have as much of buy-in on that, it's easy to quit a membership. So the average length of stay starts to become shorter and shorter. Average length of stay, if somebody joins our business, we're pretty confident they're going to be with us in 25 months. So that's where we are as Define Fitness.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of churn in our membership base. It's the constant and never-ending battle in from a finance perspective. If you want to grow your business, then you're constantly wanting to add more members than you're losing. That's really the only way to grow or to keep members longer.
Yeah.
And you guys deal with it in your business. If you want to grow your membership base, you either have to add more members or keep the ones you have longer. Right? Yeah. Close the back door or open the front door. How to get more people coming in the front door? I shut that back door so nobody leaves.
Yeah.
And it's probably the thing I enjoy chasing the most in our business is that elusive base thing of retention is how do I keep you so engaged that you can't come up with a reason to leave? And it's a battle I haven't won.
Yeah.
People quit every month.
Yeah.
No matter what I do.
Yeah.
You used to be a part of the Young Presidents Organization, correct? And how do you feel like that?
How'd you know that?
Research. But how do you feel like that network kind of influenced you? Was it more on the investment side or more on the operational business day-to-day side?
Neither. You spoke to it when you first started, when you mentioned mentors.
Yeah.
So I am obviously not the brightest guy in most rooms I'm in. I do have a work ethic. Persistent as hell. Got about zero quit in me, to the point that it's probably not good. It's probably obsessive. But YPO, Young Presidents Organization, when I first owned a bunch of clubs, there's a threshold to get in that. It's a club. You have to have X amount of scope to your business. At that time, X amount of net worth. And I was lucky to get in at a very young age. I think I got in at 27 or 28. And most of the guys in there were in their 40s and had a lot of life experience. So inside YPO, you have to get out when you're 49. You're called a 49er, and you have to exit when you're 49. Most of the guys in there had a ton of experience. So what I got exposed to inside of YPO is something called Forum, where our chapter of YPO had 30 people in it. And then we had 3 forums of 10 people each. And inside those forums, it's 100% confidential, and you share your deepest, darkest stuff, personal stuff, things going on with your family, things going on with your health. And through sitting in those forums and listening to some of these guys talk, I had a mentor that I looked at who he was, a Pizza Hut franchisee, had 100 Pizza Huts, had a bunch of other businesses, and banks, all kinds of things. I looked at who he was from the outside, and we talked about this before the podcast started, the trap of social media. Looking at what people portray, and then knowing that comparison is not a good thing, right? That it's the death of joy. It'll kill all your joy if you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. So I had this pedestal of people that I saw in YPO, looking at where they were in their lives and what they've accomplished and what they had out there, and the Porsches and the houses and the vacations and I just had them up on a pedestal. And once I got in Forum, I'm like, you get a look under the hood and you're like, oh God, he's dealing with the same shit everybody deals with. Not happy, uncomfortable, poor health, leveraged, all kinds of things. And I was so fortunate to get exposed to that it helped me sort of align my priorities and understand that comparison is in fact the thief of joy, and I need to compare myself to myself. And so those mentors that I developed in there were so open and so honest with me that I was able to avoid a lot of pitfalls on my path. The biggest takeaway from me from YPO was I need to pay it forward. I need to be that for people, is that people did that for me. So I need to help people understand where those traps are, how comparison is in fact the thief of joy, how you just need to be the best version of yourself every day and level up the best you can. And you're fallible, you're going to make mistakes, and you have to forgive yourself for those mistakes. You have to be accountable to the people that you love and that love you, and try to do the best you can.
Yeah.
That's how YPO helped me. So of course it exposed me to some amazing speakers. One of the guys early on that I got exposed to was Herb Cohen, who wrote not the Art of the Deal. He negotiated the arms for hostages for the U.S. government. He wrote a book about negotiation. I can't remember the name of the book, but we had guest speakers like that all the time. Top tier people to learn from. And so I got exposed to the educational component of YPO, which is probably universally the best part of it, is what you get exposed to. But for me, more important was the look under the hood and the personal mentors that I developed. Some people, that's how I ended up in the ice cream business in Vietnam. One of the guys from YPO, and got exposed to a lot. I got exposed to a lot. I'll go back to, I'm very lucky, very fortunate for those opportunities.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. When you guys acquired Define Fitness, I guess my question is, did the original owners, did they fully cash out? Do they still hold a piece? Is that
They're all the original owners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
CEO left.
Yeah.
There was a shareholder. Yeah. Created opportunity for me. And it had changed hands over its 36 years a couple of times, But when I got in, the current shareholders were already in, and hasn't changed hands since.
Nice. There you go. So you've run Cycle Bar, Orange Theory, Sports and Health, Define Fitness, all these different places. If you had to build a new concept today, would you go boutique or big box, and why?
I'm thinking about that right now. That's a really interesting question. I think what I would build is what we're building. I think I have to say that because my fingerprints are all over this, and I'm directing. The shareholders that we have, the investors we have, are so gracious to let me dictate that I'm sort of realizing my vision now. And I think if I were to go off on my own and do it, I think that's what I would do. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Let me answer that differently.
Yeah.
If I wasn't in a former partner and I talked about this once, and we were just cresting 50 locations. We were both tired. It was a lot of work.
Good.
And we both looked at each other and said, what do you want to do? And he said to me, when I'm done with this, I want to open one gym.
Should.
And I want it to be badass, and I want to be in it every day. And I still think about that a lot, that if I was going to build just one of something, it might be a little different than what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
It might not be 60 or 70,000 square feet. It might be a gym where I know you and you know me as a member, and I get to watch you work out, and I handpick my trainers and my Group X team. If I have Group X, I might not have a pool.
Phil?
They're cool to have, but the pain in the ass to have all that water in your building to operate. And I know it's great for our Silver Sneakers members, and I'm so happy that we have those amenities. But I might just build a 30,000 square foot club, have the cherry pick the best of everything in the market, create an environment with the music I want to hear, with the vibe I want, and just be in there all day long, just digging it with the members. Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that answer a lot.
But that's different than what I'm doing now.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. There's this stat, I think you probably know better than me, but from the research that I've done and market analysis, most gyms, if you get your member after they sign up to visit within 5 times within the first 30 days, they have a 90% plus retention rate. So they're much more likely to keep coming back. And so why do you think most big box gyms fail to kind of properly onboard and integrate new members into their gym?
So let's go back to the first part you said, because I'm always leery of statistics, but there are some pretty solid statistics that relate directly to what you just laid out. How you start anything is sort of how you're going to finish it, right? And so if you think about, and it is hard nowadays to sell a membership to somebody that's never been a member of a gym. Pretty much everybody has some kind of experience.
Yeah.
Right? And if you were to spend time talking to those people about why they quit, for the most part, what you would discover is it's because they never started, right? If they were really honest.
Yeah.
Good intentions led to a decision. I joined a gym. I went a couple of times, never really got comfortable. And then I just found a million reasons not to go. Yeah. Why I think, if I acknowledge that big box gyms fail at that, which I'm not, because I'm a big box gym and I don't want to acknowledge that yet. But if I said it's a weakness that we have in that category, for sure it is. It's because of lack of engagement at the front end. It's who I had give the tour, present the membership, and talk about all of the options. Many big box gyms who they're having do that view their job as done when they sign the member up. And that's a cultural thing that you have to embed, is that no, there's 4 steps. You took the first step. You got the member to be a member. Mm-hmm. Now we have to take the next step. We have to introduce them to a subject matter expert, somebody that is invested in their journey. How can we do that? Well, we can sell them personal training. So now you're talking about 15% of the population. What do you do with the other 85%? Your business structure has to be, by your business structure, I mean your pricing structure has to be evolved enough that you have the resources to provide support to them. You have to pay somebody to do that.
Yeah.
The membership has already paid for it, baked in their membership. That's why $10 gyms can't do it.
Good.
So what do? Well, you have a jump start or a smart start or a whatever you want to call it. And you engage technology in that, whether it's an in-body measurement or some kind of metric that can tell the new member, here's where you are and here's where you want to be. This is data. Doesn't do you any good unless we're going to check it again in the future. And you need somebody to guide you on that journey. Now, what we do at Define Fitness is we give them a couple of opportunities for free. We give them the in-body, which gives them the starting point. We give them a consultation with somebody and the opportunity to engage with that person. You can't maintain a one-on-one relationship with your members at $50 a month. You sure as hell can't do it for 10, right? Where somebody's going to train them every time they walk in. So you have to give them access to somebody that when they want follow-up, and then you have to prompt them at 2 weeks, at 30 days, at 60 days, at 90 days, time for a check-in, come back and check in with us. Let's do your in-body again. You have to provide that. And to where we started, most big box gyms don't do that because the relationship ends at the sale. It has to be part of your culture.
Yeah.
So we don't pay commissions. So the people that give you a tour don't make any money when they sell you a membership.
Yeah.
They're trying to build a relationship. Yeah. Most big box gyms are very commission driven. And so what that creates is an environment where when somebody walks in the door, the person giving you a tour looks at you as a sale. I make $12 an hour or $12.50 or whatever it is, but I can get $20 if I get you to join. Now you're a transaction and not a relationship. So we purposely don't have a culture like that. Yeah. We have a culture where we hold our greet team, that's who we call the front desk staff, accountable for how long you stay. And we measure, did you schedule their jump start or their smart start? And did they show up for it? Because you can schedule stuff all day long. It doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah. If I can get you there, so they're responsible for calling you on the phone and trying to get you to show up, then they hand you to a fitness professional. And are we great at it? Hell no. Can we be better at it? Yeah, absolutely. But we're very focused on that metric, is how can I engage you? The last statistic I read that is really interesting is somebody joining is likely to be a member in 12 months, but not in 24 months if they don't get any help. Their usage is not going to be high. They're still a member, but they're paying you, but they might not be using it. If you can get somebody to come and meet with a trainer 3 times, and we do a 3-pack of personal training at the point of sale at a very low price. We actually don't make any money on it at all. We do that. You are 10 times more likely to be a member in 2 years if you go to all 3 of those sessions. Just 3 sessions.
Yeah.
And you're going to be 10 times more likely to be a member. The stickiest member is somebody that's engaged with a personal trainer. Second stickiest member is somebody that's in a Group X class.
Yeah.
Because they have connectivity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It is a very interesting statistic. Yeah. Let's see here. We're getting close on time, so I'm going to unfortunately skip a few of the questions I have for you.
Sorry if I'm talking too much.
No, you're not at all. I love everything you've been saying. I think that one thing, or what do you think is one thing that the fitness industry is getting wrong right now that's going to kind of blow up in the next 5 to 10 years?
Growth for the sake of growth. Gyms opening so fast. You look at some of the big HVLP players that are franchise based, but private equity has gotten involved. It's really how fast can you open gyms? So I think that's what's going to catch up with them. It's a financial term, but it's deferred maintenance, not taking care of the first clubs you opened, not reinvesting. You're only as good as your last club. How fast can we grab market share? How fast can we open? So if your brand is this, and you keep opening stores, but you never pay attention to the first 50 stores you had, pretty soon your brand becomes something completely different to the people that use the first 50 stores. So deferred maintenance in our business is real. You got to reinvest in cardio, full refresh every 5 years, strength, full refresh every 10 years. As new equipment manufacturers come out, let's say Arsenal comes on the scene and they've got something that everybody likes, you need to have it. You need to keep putting money back into your stores. Define Fitness was bad about it for a long time, and we're deep into it now. It's $1 million a year that we're just spending on the 4 original stores, just constantly trying to refresh. Your pool stuff wears out, your roof wears out, your air conditioning stopped working after a certain amount of time. If you're not paying attention to that, then your attrition and your brand erodes in the base of your company, and you're just focused on the new stores. So I think the industry is missing that huge, and paying attention to the average length of a member is a big deal right now in the industry. And a lot of people aren't getting that right.
Sure.
They're just focused on sales.
I agree. Yeah. I think that everyone who ever has operated a gym and been in the fitness industry, they know that there's slow months, right? Typically during the summer, towards the end of the year. And so how do you kind of combat that in your business?
So you're talking about the baked in seasonality. Yeah. People want to get in shape, New Year's resolution. People want to get in shape for swimsuit season and can't really work out when the kids are out of school. All the baked in seasonality to the buying cycle. I'm going to be honest with you, I give it zero credence. We market the same way, we operate the same way, month after month after month. Where our marketing team pays attention to it is they will maybe increase marketing spend in the months that are more likely to drive consumer behavior, New Year's resolutions, right? So fitness in the consumer's mind has shifted a lot. It used to be more what you're saying, which is top of mind awareness certain times of the year. I'm thinking more about fitness based on, I have a high school reunion coming up. I've got a wedding coming up. Getting where to wear less clothes for the summer, right? New Year's resolutions, got to start my goals. That has really dissipated as the consciousness of fitness has raised. More press, more media, more social media exposure. You're fit year round. You pay attention to your nutrition year round. It's a part of your life as opposed to something you roll in and out of. Yeah. And so I give it zero credence because, and it's a personal bias, it's just a part of who I am every single day.
Yeah.
And so I try to embed that into our culture. Marketing probably pays a little bit of attention to it in my business and the businesses I've owned and operated. But for the most part, we drive hard on delivering an amazing service every single month. This year, for example, we didn't see a huge enrollment spike in January. It wasn't that much bigger than December. It was great in December, but it was good in January too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't really see a fall off in April. And May is National Fitness Month. And so you see a little bit of, if the amenities are right, because we have aquatics, people use the aquatics year round. Because we have outdoor space, people use the outdoor space year round, right? You're not really, when you add all that value, you're not really giving people a reason to go away. If you're just an indoor business, then people might do stuff on the outside other times of the year and they come into you in the winter. But we try to eliminate all of that.
Yeah. That's smart. Yeah. I think that personal training obviously is kind of the profit center for most gyms. It's a big money maker for most gyms. But I think that a lot of clubs and brands are not very good at selling it. Mm-hmm. And so what do you think is kind of the reason that the industry is so bad in converting their members to PT clients?
Having a value-based conversation, connecting with the member and letting them understand that there are subject matter experts that can help you. What you're trying to overcome there perpetually is that price value proposition. People view personal training as, well, that's something exclusive. It's expensive. Why would I spend money on that? But the value that you get out of that is insane. So you have to, as a member, it's insane to have somebody guide you on your journey. It's not about holding you just accountable. Some people do need that. It's about making sure that you optimize your time in the gym. It's about making sure that you don't hurt yourself. Avoiding injury will keep you on the path. Getting injured takes you off the path. So personal trainers are so helpful in that. And we are good at it. We're not great at it. We had a great meeting yesterday with the senior leadership team about how to become great at it. It's really about the quality of your trainers and the quality of the experience the member has. Trainers like to train. They don't like to sell. Mm-hmm. So getting a trainer to go find clients, they're not real motivated to find clients. They're real motivated to train clients. So you have to have a pipeline that provides them with clients, right? and puts clients in front of them so they can perform their magic. But for the most part, why some businesses are good at and big boxes or most gyms aren't good at it is the attraction, the development, and the retention of talent.
Right. Yeah.
Go try to hire trainers right now. How hard are they to find? They're hard. I think we have 80 trainers. We should have 150.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have much turnover. The ones that we get stay with us a long time.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that needs to change in the training industry, and I know we're running long, is trainers understanding that that's a career path. You get a lot of people that are trainers that are on their way through PT school, through physical therapy school, or on their way to the next thing in their career. And they don't view training as a sustainable long-term career. We have trainers making a lot of money that have been training for 15 years. So I think you have to help the trainer understand this is a viable career path, helping people and making money. You have to have the member understand that it is worth what it costs. You shorten the distance from where you are to where you want to be when you're working with a subject matter expert, right? Just that's your mentor. And it makes the fitness journey so much more enjoyable. And I don't think we do a great job getting that message across.
Yeah. No, makes sense. Well, at the end of every episode, something that I love to do, and I could probably talk to you all day, so I love a lot of the knowledge you shared. Maybe in the future we could have you back on.
Great.
But we do like a rapid fire section, so I'll just ask you some quick questions.
Let's do it.
Cool. So boutique or big box, which one is more fun to run?
Big box. You want to know why?
Yeah.
It's because I get to be involved with more people. More people. You have influence on a bigger group of team members, a bigger group of members. I have a bigger influence over the fitness journey of more and more people. And for me, like I said, when we started, that's where all the good shit happens, is the more lives I can impact, the more people I can help, the more influence I can have. That's where the fun is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. What do you see as the best fitness trend in the past 10 years?
I think we're in it right now. I think it's the inclusion of medical-based and science-based wellness into the fitness journey. People have been using gear and all kinds of things for a long time, right? And there was a lot of value in a lot of those things. Maybe they were misused or abused, or the education wasn't there. But there's a lot of things, science. What's going on with peptides right now is unbelievable. And it's not just social media stuff, and it's not just hype. As somebody that has used BPC 157 for injury recovery and some other things, I'm very public about my journey with peptides. It is unbelievable what the future of that is. So I'll look back 10 years and say maybe it wasn't there, but we're there now. And I think there's a lot of things we can do to help people keep their journey on the path and sustainable.
Yeah, I agree. What would you say is the dumbest trend in the past 10 years?
I don't want to call anybody out, but I've seen some pretty hokey boutique businesses.
Yeah.
One-trick ponies are tough, thinking that you're going to get all your fitness needs met by riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And I've seen some equipment that's pretty interesting. But I think it's all well-intended, by the way.
Of course. Yeah. What would you say is your favorite piece of gym equipment?
Oh, I can tell you what I hate, which is that damn Arsenal pendulum squat. It's incredibly humbling.
Very much.
Not being able to put much weight on that thing. What do I really like right now? I have a love-hate relationship with a lot of the equipment in the gym. I approach it like, oh shit, here it comes. It's got to be leg-based.
Yeah.
You have a seated hamstring curl.
Oh, the max pump.
Yeah.
That one is
probably my favorite piece of equipment. I saw something. I'm not on social media except occasionally to kind of put my finger on the pulse of what's happening. But there was a guy that featured that piece of equipment on social media talking about, he was saying, as everybody does, if you had 12 exercises, here are the 12 I would pick. And he isolated that piece, and I got on it this morning and locked it in, got my legs locked right, got my feet pointed up. and just got an incredible burn on my hammies doing that piece of equipment. I just love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a bad low back. I've had surgery on my low back, and it allows me to work that without doing RDLs and some other things that maybe put me a little at risk because my form sucks. It allows me to do some things that I wasn't able to do in the gym and go a little heavier. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I give you an opportunity here to give someone a shout out if you want. What would you say is your best hire that you've ever made?
There's too many to name.
Yeah.
People on my team right now, Carlos and Brandis and Joe Crespin, all of my districts, Brad and Irv, all of those people cut from the same cloth, have drive, they live the 4Ds. I would have zero success without those people on the team. They're unbelievable. And the members feel it. The staff feels it. What they're building is incredible.
It's awesome. Now, last question for you. Define Fitness in 5 years. More clubs, same footprint, which obviously we know is not, what you would do, but is someone writing you a big check and you're cashing out? What's your goal in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I'm not thinking that far forward.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the next club, and can we provide the member service and the experience that we keep trying to deliver? And is that a success? And are all the people that are on my team, if I was using any metric to measure what the next 5 years looks like, is everybody that's on the team still on the team and they are super happy? One of the interview questions I always ask is, let's say we bring you on the team and you decide to join our family. In a year, how will you know it was a good decision? How will you know it was a good decision? Universal answer is always, they always look back and they always say, did I contribute? That's what you want to hear. Did I make this place better? Did I make your team better? And am I happy?
Yeah.
And so that always leads to, what does that look like for you? For some people, it's work-life balance. For some people, they feel like they're growing and developing as a person and as a leader. So my metric for success in 5 years is really just that one thing: is everybody that's on the team is on the team, and are they super happy? Are they achieving what they want to achieve? Yeah. Then I know I won.
Yeah.
It's not about checks. It's never been about making money. It's always about making a difference.
I love that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's all I have for you today. I had some more, but we ran short on time.
I'm a long-winded guy. I apologize.
Don't apologize. Love it. Yeah.
Thank you for tolerating my pup being in here, my dog.
We'll definitely have you on again in the future.
All right, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate what you guys are doing too. Ironverse is a great place. Love working out there. Love the fact that you're willing to bring me in and share these kind of conversations.
Of course.
Thanks. I don't view what you guys do as competitive. What we do, I view that if we can share best practices across the platform, rising tide lifts all boats and we all get better. Yep. There's enough for all of us.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Awesome.
Man, that was so good. We just got a masterclass on what it actually looks like from the inside, how deals are structured, how partnerships work, and how to navigate an industry that most people only see from the treadmill. If you got value from this conversation, please hit the subscribe. That's what allows us to continue to bring on guests like Mark Fischer, who are in the arena building real businesses and willing to share the unfiltered truth of what that takes. And hey, if you're in the Albuquerque area and you take your training seriously, come check out Ironverse Training Facility. We're the gym redefining the fitness industry. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you on the next one.